welcome everybody. It's truly special to be here with you today in this incredible city of Singapore, because this is actually where I am at the moment. I arrived about 5 days ago, flying in via Dubai with Emirates Airlines. I have to point this out because I think we should not be I think we need to start moving back again. It was really, everything felt seamless. Unfortunately, very empty in Dubai as such on the plane, but it was a fantastic seamless flight, Frankfurt, Dubai, Dubai, Singapore. So I'd love to encourage you to just really, get back to normal if you can, heading out to Asia or either to the Middle East. Because what we are witnessing right now is not just a geopolitical crisis, it's a real stress test for global tourism. Again, we know this feeling. And that's why I'm especially curious to explore this together with you today. So what does it really mean on the ground for Asia, for our businesses in general, for travel, and ultimately for our clients? So being here in Singapore feels very symbolic because this is a place that truly acts as a gateway between West and Asia, a place where high-end business meets deep cultural diversity. And it's one of the most stable and prosperous countries in the world. Small in size, but very strategic. So perhaps this is no better place to have this conversation now. So let's look closer at how we can navigate Asia, the shifting of global tourism landscape in general between crisis and continuity. I'm really, really proud to have four wonderful colleagues here today that can give us their experience, their knowledge, and their, advice, maybe what can we learn. And it's exciting because I have two colleagues that are based locals here in Singapore. They're expatriates, but they are Singapore residents. And I have two wonderful ladies, very experienced ladies, one from Switzerland and one from Germany, from the high-end travel agency, so we can look at it from both sides. So let me introduce my wonderful colleagues. I will start with Christine Gale. She is a friend since many, many years, centuries almost.
We lost counting.
Yeah, stop counting. Christine is the founder and CEO of Heaven's Portfolio. It's the leading hospitality representation company in Asia. And Heaven's Portfolio specializes in offering tailor-made marketing, sales, and PR services to about 80 high-end hospitality brands. Heaven Portfolios has offices all across Asia. I will list them so you see the range of countries that she's looking after. So we have China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, India, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, and the Philippines. And on top, you have offices Middle East, Europe, and Australia. So you are a real expert. You are from France. You moved to Asia a long time ago. And now you are a resident in Singapore, running Heaven's Portfolio out of Singapore, and of course, traveling a lot. So welcome, Christine. Happy to have you here.
Thank you.
My second Singapore resident, so to say, but also expatriate, is Nitesh. Nitesh Pandey. He's the Chief Operating Officer for Asia Pacific at the Lux Collective, where he leads both operations and expansions across one of the most dynamic regions in global hospitality. So with a career spanning some of the world's most iconic luxury brands, from Taj to Oberoi to Zeta in Miami, Nitesh brings a truly global perspective shaped across Asia, the Middle East, and North America. Today, Nitesh oversees a fast-growing portfolio of properties at Lux Collective, while helping to redefine modern luxury through innovation, creativity, and deeply human-centric approach to hospitality, because this was very strong what we need, deeply human-centric. So welcome, Nitesh.
Thank you, Astrid.
We are now jumping over to Europe. It's a great pleasure to welcome Susanne Singer. Susie, we call her Susie, is the founder and CEO of One Fine Moment. She's based in Munich. She's born and raised in Munich. It's One Fine Moment is really one of the best niche tour operators in Germany, a boutique travel company really known for its highly curated, deeply personal approach to travel design. She has and this is, we know each other also a long time, a strong background in luxury sales and marketing. She had leadership roles at Designreisen and Gernreisen and brings over two decades of experience in creating really exceptional tailor-made journeys. She decided to then open up her own company, and I'm really proud to see how Susie is developing in this world, and she's an entrepreneur. So very welcome, Susie.
Thank you.
Ruth. Yeah, Ruth Landolt. Ruth is, last but not least, she's truly an icon of Asia travel in Switzerland with decades of experience. Ruth is the CEO and founder of Asia 365, a highly specialized tour operator focused on travel across Asia. Ruth herself founded Asia 365 in 2021, a specialized Asia tour operator within the Kony Group, which was acquired by Dare Tour in 2015. So Ruth continues to lead the company as managing director, and she has really is playing a key role in shaping Asia, the Asia travel segment in Switzerland. So welcome, Ruth. So, ladies and my gentlemen, I would like to ask the question first, and I'll start with Christine. Christine, you sit at the intersection between global brands and Asian markets. So, what shifts are you currently seeing, and how has this been changing not only through the crisis, but in general?
Well, in general, on the global scale, the shift has been mainly in eagerness from the high net worth individual to go out of the beaten path, more exploration, more daring. The approach to travel is more in finding the authentic experience that can really depict the destination well, rather than going to the usual big cities where everybody is going. So it has changed in the destination. They also are very keen to discover new brands and go out of the usual large operators and large known brands. So they're very keen to learn about new destinations, but also new brands in the hospitality environment. We see that wellness has picked up tremendously in the Asia market, a higher demand for wellness holidays, but wellness holidays in the true wellness sense, in the true medical sense. So we talk about biohacking, longevity. Those are the words we see a lot appearing on the market more and more. So those are the shift. And in terms of working markets and representation in Asia, we see the influence obviously, like every other market, of the digital influencers, the importance of being visible in certain platforms. And then, those platforms are very different from the China market, where they have their own ecosystem in social media platform, or India, where they also use a different type of platform. So overall, it's been shifting in the pattern. The global situation, today's global situation is it's been quite resilient, I have to say. And I was the first one to build up a crisis scenario and really starting to worry for the worst. But we haven't seen drops. We haven't seen, change in our high net worth individual pattern in terms of booking. They may have been holding off a little bit more. They've been that wait and see kind of position. So the last minute is really something that is really growing. And it's difficult to navigate the last minute, especially at peak time. So, this is what we've seen. Airline has been very resilient and strong. In fact, I was just having chats with the Lufthansa team the other day where they're saying they're establishing new routes, they're opening new routes and shifting from Dubai and going via other destination. It could be Sri Lanka, for example. So I think everyone is very fast reacting. You know, there's this almost lesson we've learned from the past crises, and I've seen our partners being very quick at bouncing ideas and finding ways to turn around in this crisis. So it's been quite interesting to see that positivity, resilience. We still see eagerness to go to Europe, which is important because we were worried about flying over Middle East from here, but there's been no concern whatsoever. So I'm very pleased to see this, in fact.
Great. It's interesting that you're saying that the demands are shifting from the Asia market because we know, for example, how important shopping is for for the
Yeah.
Asians. But I mean, but there is more deeper content. They're
They're
interested in
looking
that.
at, yeah, storytelling is very important.
Yeah.
Having really grounded relationship with the clients as well. I think really connecting with them. The English is much better. We have this perception that Asian overall don't
Uh-huh.
speak very good English. You know, the young generation, they're very fluent, and especially the high net worth individual, they have been raised and brought up in the UK or in Australia or in the US. So the language is quite developed. So we see that it also has helped with the travel, the eagerness of travel out of the usual path.
Right. Great. No, thank you very much. Absolutely. Susie, we're jumping back to Europe. So you with your wonderful tour operator, lots of clients on the books, great bookings are going ahead. How did the Middle East crisis affect you 6 weeks ago? How did it go over the last 6 weeks? And did you have any did it remind you a little bit of the pandemic, or was it different? What happened at your company?
I would say the moment it started on this Saturday, we all in the office went back immediately like this to the COVID mode. Like everybody was on the laptop, everybody was working again, everybody was looking for flight routes, everybody was online at Flight Radar, what is happening, which routes are often open, where are they going. So it was in a sense the same at the start because we all didn't know, right? On the first day, nobody knew what's going to happen next week, how is it going to evolve, and so on. But of course, it is different because when the world was down years ago, it is a part of the world which is tricky to travel to, I would say, or trickier. So what we saw is that the people definitely wanted to travel. And they wanted to travel also immediately, a lot of them. And we just had to do a lot of cancellation, new bookings, rerouting, and so on. So in a way, I would say in the mode that we used to know when COVID hit us, but also very different. And what I see is that the people are staying at the clients much more positive than in the last crisis, of
Mhm.
course, because it is well a small part of the world in some sense, which is affected, but of course not as much as it used to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. So lots of experience from COVID we have kicking into crisis mode immediately. I mean, we learned. It's good that we learned. But sometimes people, humans, don't learn, right? Ruth, you are an ASIN specialist, and from a Swiss perspective, we would be interested to know how sensitive is your market, the Swiss market, when it comes to geopolitical instability. How do they react? How was it for you? Is it for you?
Well, it was quite a shock, but our market in general isn't overly sensitive. But when it comes to armed conflict and affected airports, you don't need to react immediately. So I must agree with Susie that we had the same. We were very, very swiftly into urgency mode, but I see what I saw in the beginning. It was very easy to rebook clients. if we were finding alternatives, of course, because everybody wanted to travel. And what I see now, what has changed in the last 6 weeks, that people tend to wait now. So for Asia, we are affected very strongly with Middle East, because from Zurich, I mean, there are 6 daily flights via Middle East. So imagine with big aircrafts. So these are missing. And of course, yeah, we are now still in crisis mode, but yeah, we will see what's happening.
But it's not your first Middle East crisis, right? You had mentioned that, obviously. Yeah, I mean, you're used to it. You're in the industry a long time, right?
We had all the small crises with typhoons, with volcanoes, with everything, but we had a big crisis with COVID, of course, has everybody had it, but we had SARS. We had the crisis with the pigs.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, that's true.
And
Yeah,
during the financial crisis, we had, I mean, there were huge trouble in Asia. I mean, the financial crisis in 2008 hit Asia most strongly. We didn't
definitely.
in Europe, you didn't feel it that much, but in Asia it was terrible. So every hotel was at our front door.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So,
Increasing.
but you're used to it, right? You're
Yeah.
getting used to the crisis.
Yeah,
When,
but this
yeah,
is a bit a fortunate situation that in our market, I mean, all the long-standing employees are used to the crisis. They were very swift in coming into the office and handling the crisis. So this is the only positive side of crisis, actually.
that's true. And what I hear, and that's really has a very negative touch, is from so many of you, no matter if it's hotels or travel trade agencies. I mean, like Susie, you said, I had such a fantastic first quarter this year. I mean, I speak to some of the agencies, etc. Said, we hit our budget. We're already done for this year. It's just going so well. And then for the hotels, and then you put on the brakes. That's really not nice to see that. Nitesh, as a resident of Singapore, could you describe how the Middle East conflicts affects Asia Pacific, if at all? How is it within your environment, your company? How is that going for the Lux Collective and for you as Nitesh personally as well?
So for us, the Middle East conflict it's not reducing the global tourism demand. The demand is there.
Yeah.
It's just reshaping it. Okay. Uh, I heard the word crisis, the COVID, but the difference between COVID time and now is that during COVID for us, especially in the hotel sector, the demand went zero. There was literally no demand. It was completely kaput, gone, finished. Now the demand is there. Okay. Now the challenge is twofold. One is the complete disruption of aviation. Now, Emirates, Qatar Airlines, the whole Middle East hub has become so big and it has kind of become a bridge between Europe and Asia. So when that gets impacted, the whole aviation sector, the whole route gets impacted. Now the flight, not only they can't fly from that area, but they have to take different routes, longer routes, higher cost. And that's getting impacted with the cost of fuel, other charges also. So for us in Maldives, we are seeing some very serious impact. In fact, the arrival is down by 50%, I would say, to Maldives. For personally, for our hotel, we got hit. Not just us, but everybody has got hit. For Maldives in two folds. One is the top line from the reservations, and the second is the fuel prices and all that has got hit. But I'll go in detail later on that one as such. For Asia Pacific, for this side of the world, China, we are doing extremely well. Okay, so because of few reasons, the travelers who were initially going to Middle East, now they have rerouted to Singapore, to China, to Thailand, to this part of the world. So these areas are getting benefited with that one. Secondly, it's also that I think Suzanne was saying earlier, the resilience is coming up huge. The spending power of middle income group from, of course, China. There's a huge population above the upper middle class and all. India is catching up now. A big population of India is catching up over there as such. So we have now a lot of regional tourism also. Okay. So of course we want to create a balance, to be as much resilient as possible. But now we're getting a good balance of not just tourists coming from Europe, but also from regional tourists from the destination itself as such. So for example, for Vietnam, your number one would be China, followed by South Korea, followed by Taiwan, Hong Kong, all the regional. And that covers up to come to 65 to 70% for certain areas in Vietnam as such and all. So yes, we have got impacted from the cost point of view because of the fuel prices. Things definitely, yeah, in Singapore also, because of the fuel prices, some of the costs are going up. Cost of living is slightly going up in Singapore too. For the hotels, mainly from the operational point of view, the costs are going up, and the operational volatility, that can the guest come down? Okay, what route will he take? Will they show up? We still have, reservations in Maldives where there's cancellation has not taken place, but guest has not been able to show up. So that still happens. But again, Asia is a big area, and each area has got its, some areas are very strong, positive, some areas are struggling. So, I would say a mixed balance. But again, the demand has not reduced. The demand is there. It's just reshaping from where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Very good. Yeah, I fully understand. That was a great overview. Christine, are certain destinations, how do you see that certain destinations in Asia are already benefiting from the disruption? We know in this terrible world, we always have winners and losers. So are they benefiting while others are struggling? Where do you see an opportunity, and where do you see real pressure happening?
Mhm. Yeah, well, in Asia, there's one factor that is really important is that it's very time sensitive. The Asian travel in blocks, so they have the typical travel period, the Golden Week, the special holidays, the long holidays, and it does have an impact on the travel. And when it did hit, we were in full Easter mode when you're trying to prepare for, because our markets, you have to remember, we don't operate like in Europe where we book our trip 6 months ahead. A lot of our Asian travelers, especially on the high network from the high end market, book probably 3 months out, 2 months out, and sometimes a week out, especially in India. If you think about the India market, they are the kings of last minute. So we were trying to mitigate the Easter period, which was really the imminent travel period for us. And this was my biggest focus, really. We've seen that a lot of our travelers from China has moved away from Dubai, obviously, which is a big hub for them, and a big, Saudi, Dubai have invested heavily in those markets, Abu Dhabi as well. They have the tourism board have done such an amazing job in Asia in, developing the destination, in awareness, in creating visibility. Saudi, for example, has spent a huge amount of time and funds in our markets, in all the trade shows where they were very visible. Suddenly, this collapsed. So our travelers didn't stop traveling. They just rerouted. Like Susie said, we've had a lot of cancellation, or more so, I wouldn't say cancellation, postponement. They just say, okay, I can't do it now. Let's move it to the, when it gets better. So again, I think our marketing shows how resilient it is, because they're not saying cancel full point. Let's put it for next time. But then they're going to reroute and go somewhere else. So we've seen a surge in Thailand, in Japan. Japan has been very, very strong, and it was the season for going to Japan, the blossom season. So it has been a shift in that sense. But again, there's also destinations who are saturated. Japan is very, very traveled and very sensitive in terms of peak occupancy and high occupancy. So we see that there's been a spillover. Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia to an extent. So, and then Singapore. I think Singapore's going to benefit as well. A lot of people will come and travel to Singapore. I think the destination has done a lot of work to showcase Singapore as being a vibrant city, as being a fun city also to travel to. And you have, a number of attractions here in Singapore that drive business here. So I think if at all, it will benefit the Asian hubs as a whole. But moving forward, when I think about the summer, and October, we have a long October break. We still see Greece, Italy, France, south of France. These destinations are very high on the high net worth list. What we see also in terms of the affluent travelers is, and I'm going back to Nitesh's point on the price of flying. We see a lot of our private jet company that we are dealing with having more demand. And I think there may be a shift, and it's yet to be seen in terms of numbers, but there will be a shift in using private jet instead of commercials in the long run. So yeah, there's different consequences and situation, but I don't think this will be for too long. I think Asia is again a very resilient country, and they haven't explored the world as yet. There's still a number of uncharted territory they want to explore, and I think a lot of people have that bucket list. During COVID time, they were like, "Oh my God, I want to go there, and I've got that whole list to do before anything happen again." And they are always putting back a number of destinations on the top of their list. So I think this crisis, in any crisis, there's silver lining. There's always a positive to it, and I think we're going to learn from it. And we just also want to take my advice is to take this advantage to learn more about the market, learn more about the pattern, and showcase the destination in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. Susie, you are very close to the consumer. You talk with your clients very, very closely. If I hear Christine, I'm like thinking, wow, my God, if the Asians are now flocking out to new destinations like Europe, etc., what are you going to do with your clients based in Europe? I mean, how is this gonna all work out? I mean, is Greece are they already full? Can you still book Spain? There's a lot of things going through my mind. So do you think that the travelers or your consumers become more risk aware and more conservative, or is it the opposite? Are they still willing to travel? Do they realize that they need to move to get maybe a room for their holiday? And what has changed in how they do decisions now? Is there something that you see differently? And how are you coping with the demand within, if you don't need to go through, if you can't go through the Middle East, for example? Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually very interesting also for me to see how different the clients react. I mean, there are these very conservative German clients you have, like, for example, I had one client on the first weekend when the war started, he canceled out his Fujairah booking for November already, which is very German in a way sometimes. We are super, super conservative. So this is the one point. The other point where I said we have a lot of people who definitely want to travel. I agree to Christine that a lot is coming more on a short notice. We have already a lot of short notice, but this is even more. We have a little bit of a waiting, I feel, for the winter at the moment, like really wait and see a little bit more and see how it all evolves. But I had a very nice talk to a client just yesterday, which fits brilliantly to this question, Astrid. I have a person who is celebrating her 90th birthday in Jakarta. 80th. And she is inviting her whole family down to the grandchildren. Family of 12 traveling. We all have them on Emirates. So she was calling me yesterday, what shall I do? And I said, listen, I'm not the person who sees in the future as well. Huh? Who would I be to know? But
Yeah.
I would tell you that if the situation goes on like this, I would keep my tickets, but I would book a backup. Like go on a Thai Airways or go to Singapore. We do a backup, which is still cancelable in a way, and then we just wait and see. But this is a very good backup for you. Then you know definitely you can go. Vice versa, however you want to decide. And then she said a very nice thing, and she said, you know what, I'm going to be 80, so I'm very risky. I don't mind, if something happens to me in Dubai, I don't give a shit. I'm sorry for my very direct words, but that's what she said. And then she said, but I have to talk to the young people because they have kids and they are not as risky as I am. So this was the call yesterday, and this is how different our clients are, and everyone, like every situation is super different. Some of them are not, but what I can see already is if Emirates and co are going on like this, stable like this, of course with some disruptions, very, very clear in the situation, but they are reliable. They were in the last weeks, and they are doing their itineraries, they are flying. And if this goes on like this, more and more people will stay also with their tickets and their bookings. We have next week going to Normaldas with Emirates, and I told her, what do you want to do? Shall we do a backup? Do you want? No, she said, I'm going to stay. I'm going to fly with them. I'm going to stay. I rely on them. That's all good. So this is very, very different, very individual.
Cheap, very affordable compared to all the others.
This was booked before the crisis hit, so no, it was expensive tickets still, but no, it's really like it very, very individual how the clients are and also how they react. Very interesting for us all to see as well.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. Absolutely. I believe because I told you I was flying with Emirates through Dubai, and I posted it when I left Frankfurt. There were 2 flights, Frankfurt, Dubai a day, and then Dubai, Singapore. And people were writing me and say, what, you're flying through Dubai? I felt like a complete exot, like someone who is doing something really impossible. And but I also thought, okay, I don't have any children. Nobody I mean, my husband is waiting for me, but I don't. If I come 2 days later, it doesn't play a role. But it was so smooth, and the people in Dubai at the airport, they were so happy to see you. I could really sincerely feel it, and I've never in my life. It took me getting out of the plane in Dubai, through transit into the lounge. It took me 18 minutes. I mean, because it was so empty. We can also see it positive. Let's support the tourism industry. Let's go do that. I believe they know what they are doing, and the flights are becoming more and more regular, as you say. So, Ruth, the Swiss. What is wrong? What is happening with our Swiss people? I mean, you are kind of you are specialized in Asia. So of course, if your clients don't want to take the hub Middle East yet, how are you going to build around these itineraries to Asia now in terms of pricing, availability, complexity being complex? How do you see this? How are you gonna handle this? Is there a way around? Or
it is indeed a challenge to offer the customers now acceptable itineraries, because the flight options to Asia, they were for the crisis. So now with the Middle East missing, there are too many missing flights. We have very shortage, especially even for the big spenders. I mean, for local, we have a lot of requests as well for private flights to charter, but they want to fly from Singapore to Koh Samui or something like that, but not from Switzerland on a private flight to Asia. So we do have sometimes problems to please the clients. But especially the family market, which is in summer has flourished in the recent years considerably, is now a major challenge because the flight prices are indecent.
absolutely.
But especially for the families as well, the reports of empty gas stations in Laos, in Thailand, cancelled domestic flights in Indonesia, and so on, that doesn't make things easier. I mean, of course, we have clients, they are ready to fly via Middle East, but they are not too many, I must say.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
And especially the fact of this underlying uncertainty that causes most harm. It's not, the people are kind of retreating. They say, okay, we would love to travel, but just not at the time being. So we have many people waiting. So at the moment, as I told you in the beginning of the crisis, people, do you have an alternative for me? Okay, acceptable. They went. But now it's mostly, we want to wait. We go next year. Re-offer the trip for 27. And it is...
Oh, wow. We need
Not
to be
an easy
patient.
situation.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Nitesh, Ruth just mentioned, gasoline stations closing in Thailand or people saving. So from an operational perspective, because you are also operational, it's your expertise. What has changed most in the last weeks? Cost structure, staffing, guest behavior. What does crisis actually look like in your day-to-day business in the operation?
I think for us, like when I say us, for everybody on this call, crisis is no longer a shock. After Ruth spoke about the SARS and that the 2007 2008 crisis, we are seeing this every few years. It's like a satellite coming around every time. After a few years it comes back to you. So for us, crisis is a constant state of adjustment. We being agile is more important than ever. For us in China, literally no issues actually. We are having a very good occupancy and operations are going strong. Impact is very less because of their reserves and they're very well covered over there. So over there we don't see any issues as such. Maldives, yes. Previously I spoke about the top line getting hit. We are getting hit very badly with the cost structures also. So the fuel prices are going tremendously up. Okay, so that's one thing because Maldives runs on oil. It's each
Yes.
island is like a country, so you have to produce your own electricity, your own water, you have to handle your own garbage, everything. You run a country for an island. Okay, so and everything is linked to oil. Okay, fortunately we have invested a lot on solar panels, which is still a work in progress. It must be over by May, June this year, and will cover up to 41% of our energy needs through solar panels. Okay. But the problem is the current oil crisis, oil prices. Second is this that all the insurance premiums have gone up for the ships, and that's getting added to a cost of supplies. Okay, so that's becoming a big problem for us. Then there's shipping surcharges now, which was not there in the past as much or much higher. Okay, so the oil prices, the insurance premiums, the shipping surcharges, okay, all going up. At the same time, the ETA, the expected time of arrival, is getting much higher than before. So which means that we need to keep more stock. Okay, and in our terms we call it like a dead stock because
Oh,
it's not creating value for you, but you are just keeping more and more stock in your inventory just to make
yeah.
sure that you don't go short of it. Now items which are perishable that might expire and that might you might have just throw it out, but because you are in the luxury segment, you need to cater to all the guests. It's a very challenging time for us, very very challenging
Wow.
time where your top line is getting drained, your bottom line is getting hit very badly with high fuel prices which you are running the oil on, which you're running the island on, high shipping costs, high insurance premiums, high shipping surcharges. And so Maldives traditionally low seasons will start from May, June, July, after Easter in April, May, June, July. And that's when you send your team members holidays for holidays and all. We have started doing that now because we are seeing a big drop in the occupancies and all. Okay. From guest behavior point of view, look, right now, of course, the guests are a bit worried because of the instability. So we are showing as much empathy as possible. I think you use the word human centric, and that's what we always say that we're bringing humanistic approach to hospitality within our company as such. So yeah, guests are worried. We are trying to show empathy as much as possible. Trying to see that okay, if the reservations can be postponed to another date. Okay, so that both sides
Mm.
is gets saved on that one as such. But yeah, means again, that's in Maldives though. But in China again, uh, I think Christine was saying earlier that guests are looking for more meaningful holidays, and and the word longevity. So longevity, the word longevity has become what sustainability was 5-10 years ago. Everybody, it's everywhere now, and wellness, and we are seeing a demand for that also. Means people want to get connected more to the nature, more to the local people. I think Ruth was at Lux Tea Horse Road last year along with Patrick, and that's a place where the destination is a journey, not the hotel. Okay, and we try our best to connect the guests with the local people, local culture, local festivals. We take them to the local homes, bringing people together. That's what we are trying to do,
Mm.
making the holidays more meaningful, making the holidays more educational, so that when you come back from there, you bring back a little bit of that destination into your heart, and that's what we are trying to do. So yes, crisis is huge for Maldives at the moment, I would say. But yes, again, we are trying to be agile, react as quickly as possible. Of course, you can't reduce the oil prices and all the cost, but we are trying to mitigate as much as possible, in as much as possible for all of us. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm sure
Yeah.
you're doing very well. Christine, this is the last round of our questions now, and I also have, and that fits actually quite well. I have a wonderful friend here in the talk. It's Asa. She's from Egypt, and she just launched a beautiful new Nile cruise, a ship called Cleo, and she put the question, "How is Egypt doing?" And I think I know the answer because we talked about it actually it's a positive answer.
It's quite
So do you
serendipity.
exactly
Serendipity.
do you
Yeah.
believe that luxury travel will be redefined and marketed differently in Asia due to this situation? And that fits perfectly into into the Egypt question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. And Egypt, yes, yes, and yes. I think you and I gonna make the weather there here straight.
Yeah.
With new destination, but also new ways of working. And I mean, it's hard to predict, on the Asia scale, how it's gonna turn out. China works very differently than India. I mean, within the whole continent of Asia, you have Japan, Korea, you have the conservative, more careful Singaporeans, you have the Hong Kong Chinese, who is a complete different ways of traveling. And then all the emerging countries, the Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia. So all of them have different pattern, different aspiration, and they are in a different maturity, and they have seen the world in a different way. Um, One other thing that we struggle with in our market is visa issuance. And if you are looking for a Schengen visa in China right now, you have long, long queues, and that could be something government should be looking into. So it's not only us operators or representative or hotels or airlines, it's also government's influence. And I would say the geopolitical situation plays a huge role. And unfortunately, we are so dependent on, we can see it today, every day is a new Trump episode. Um, it's so connected to what's going on politically. Um, but I would say yes, they will continue to explore the world. Egypt will be one of the destination, and it started already. We have seen Egypt on a lot of people's bucket list. They will probably still continue going to Bali and Indonesia and Thailand for the short breaks, because they have long holidays, long weekends. But eventually, on the long holidays, their 10 days or 15 days, there'll be more cruising around the world. Cruise is a big deal in Asia. There will be more, again, looking for the adventure, looking for the connecting with the, like Nitesh was saying, with the community. And I think also from an influencer standpoint, you can see how it's changing already. It is, back a few months, few years ago, it was all about you take that photo in that spot, and everybody wants to flock in that special space to take that photo. Now it's changing. It's more about, okay, building a smaller community and having an influence on that smaller community. So I think quality over quantity is really going to be important. Really also the consequences of maybe US traveling less. I don't know. Let's see where this is going. I hear that the Americans are kind of in a wait and see position right now, not maybe not everywhere, but so certain destination like Greece, for instance, I see that the market is dropping. Would this allow for other market to come in and maybe reshuffle the game and the cards when it comes to market ventilation or market um, a bit more spread in terms of business. I think having one single nationality as your main business and main mean of revenue is dangerous. And perhaps that will teach operators to diversify. and to maybe forage and go into countries that have never been.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's also being adaptable and understanding the Asian market. They have different culture, they have different habits, they eat differently. There's different traditions. You know, in China, number 4, never, no go. So there's a few things to learn and to adapt and to be aware of. So it's about investing in the right market and having that passion for the market, and truly Asian is about relationship, like a lot of markets, but in Asia particularly it goes a long way, and there's a lot of human values here.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about human values, Susie, we are always fighting for the role of the travel agencies. I was wondering, did you feel after COVID, the travel agent became a more importance again, because then you can rebook and you have an advisor, you have a specialist like you. Did this go down? Do you think it dropped again after COVID, the importance of a travel advisor like you? And now, because I'm always fighting for the travel agent, if I have friends and say I booked this and this direct, I said, are you crazy? This is not good. So how important do you see the Germans? How are they with the travel trade at the moment? Do you see the importance of them? And
the problem with some of the people is they always tend to forget very quickly. So after a crisis is over, people start to go again on Expedia and booking and whatever. So of course, in crises, you always get more calls. And I had one of these clients, I had landing in Dubai on the Saturday when it hit. And he went over to Oman on the same night, and he was on the phone with me like all the time. And then the next time he said, Susan, I have here 2 more families. Unfortunately, they booked direct. Can you help them out? They need to go home. So of course, well, I went on the phone, I helped them out as well. But this is actually a perfect example how it is. We know that we are important. In crisis is more than ever. Also, apart from crisis, definitely we are. But definitely when a crisis like this hits, the client feels immediately and knows immediately again why you are very important. I mean, these clients, we got out of the different regions. I mean, we had some stuck in Singapore, we had them stuck in Sri Lanka, we had, of course, Dubai and Oman and so on. But I remember one of them, we got out like 3 days later out of Singapore. They came into the office and they gave us big hugs and they said, thank you so much for bringing us back. And I said, well, this is our job. This is actually why we are here for, right? We know this, and this is our understanding of ourselves. But some of the clients, of course, don't know. And in crisis, they learn exactly why we are there, even more of importance that under normal times as well. I mean, giving those strikes, etc., as well, coming now on top. Of course, they definitely know why they should book via us.
And yeah, absolutely. And out of curiosity, Susie, because Christine was also talking about reshifting of that geopolitical, the tourism is reshifting the destinations. Do you see already any problems booking your clients to Europe, like Greece, Spain, Italy? Are there already gaps in availabilities, or is there still something available?
There is still availability, but the prices, of course, go up. I mean, the prices are insane. Everybody knows this. We really try to get hold of all our clients and tell them, listen, if you want to travel until winter, get your plans done. Because you should book as early as you can. If you have any specific dates already in mind, it only will get more expensive. And especially for Europe, I mean, the prices were insane for Europe anyway already, like the last 2-3 years when it just was going up. Availability is there, of course, shorter than it is under normal circumstances. And also, apart from July and August, where it gets packed already earlier and it stays packed later. Europe is definitely seeing a big increase in all the other months as well, but you have to pay a lot more money and shift your dates around maybe sometimes. So it's a lot more work, I would say, to get bookings done than it was before.
Absolutely, yeah. It's more complex. Absolutely, yeah. This is crazy. How is this gonna? We need to go back to normal. This is not nice. Ruth, how about the Swiss? How loyal are they with the travel agents? And you as a specialist, are they loyal? Do they understand the value you're giving to them?
Some do understand, others do forget very swiftly. I must fully agree with Susie's
Uh,
statement. Unfortunately, people tend to forget very easily, yeah, but of course, it's easy. Even the crisis, they do forget very easily once it's over. So, however critical my assessment of the current situation may be, I'm fairly certain that once the conflict is credibly resolved and we are not hit by a wave of terrorism, business will recover immediately.
Good.
We're gonna be overwhelmed like we did after the pandemic. I mean, I have never seen in my career what happened after the pandemic for
Yeah,
Asia. I mean, oh my God.
yeah.
We had so many requests, we were not able, even we kept all the stuff, we were not able to cope with it. It was
Wow.
really tough.
Well, let's hope we will have a similar situation. The work is complex anyway, so let's at least, be productive when we have to do all this work. So, Nitesh, last question to you, last roundup. You have told about your expansions in China already, and do you have any other destinations where this affects your expansion plans now? And what kind of role does the European market play in the development of Lux Collective? I have to say, when I had my previous talk with you, you told me about this beautiful China trip, and I'm like, gosh, why did I never go there? This is so amazing. I never really had it on my map. I think this is something, Ruth, you did it, right? But this is something, yeah. So I think this is really something to consider. Let's go where we haven't even thought of. So, Nitesh, last roundup question. How is it? How are you guys doing there?
In fact, this crisis is not impacting our expansion plan at all. In fact, it reinforces that
Uh-huh.
more diversification is better. And when before Lux started in 2011, the hotels which were in Mauritius and Maldives, they used to be called Nayad hotels in those days,
Right.
and that got very badly hit by the global crisis of 2007 2008, the financial crisis. And that shows completely that you can't have all your eggs in one basket. And that's when the company decided that we need to stretch to spread out. Okay. So currently, yeah, we are growing very strong in China. We have signed some iconic projects, one in Shanghai on the Bund. Okay, and in fact, maybe it will be positioned as the most luxurious hotel of Shanghai. We are designing it as such. Okay, it's opening next year. And again, along with that, there are many multiple projects which we are doing in China. We are coming up with the most luxurious hotel of Vietnam, the first over water, like Maldives style. In Vietnam, we are doing that one. We have signed something in Bali. We are going strong in Africa. We have done something in Zanzibar. We are signing a second project. We have signed something in Botswana. Very soon, we are going to announce something in Uganda, safari lodges and all. Middle East expansion, definitely. I don't think it will stop, but it might slow down slightly because, look, I strongly believe in Dubai. I think Dubai is very resilient. The leadership is very resilient. They will jump back. I have a strong belief over there. They will turn around the situation. Of course, it's a difficult situation for all of us and for them also, but they will turn it around. Okay. So for expansion plans point of view, no, we are very strong and we actually want to spread now more across different feeder markets and all. Okay, especially Asia Pacific is something which is very important, and Africa and Middle East, which is very important for us. Europe market plays a vital role. Currently, Mauritius, Maldives, Reunion Island, Zanzibar, 70% market is from Europe. So you cannot ignore that market at all.
Yeah.
It's very strong for us. Uh, Europe market is also preferable because they book long in advance, so you can see on your books what exactly is there, and this relies with 16 points. It's not last minute with India, China. It's like
Mm.
next weekend, let's this Saturday, let's book today on Thursday. So that gives a bit of like oops, what's happening here? Okay. But with European markets, they book long in advance. Okay. They have longer stays. The average spend per guest is much higher. Okay. So all these things add a lot of positivity. And along with that, look, each market is getting matured. Okay, European market is matured that when they go to for holidays, they look for more deeper experiences. More, again, I've used the word meaningful before, but they look for more deeper, more meaningful experiences, which aligns very well with our brand values. Because we are very small, okay, and we try to sell our rooms not from a price point of view, but from an experience point of view. So over here, the values aligns very much. So for as such, Europe is definitely very, very important market for us. Okay, but at the same time, we also want to create a balance, because it also, that's what happened in Middle East right now. If something like this happens, which kind of disrupts the aviation or something as such, we want to create a balance that, okay, you have got feeder market from Europe, from Asia, from Africa, from different parts of the world. Okay, so that you're more resilient to any regional crisis as such. Okay, of course, when the crisis is global like COVID, you can't turn around. But when there's a regional crisis, you should be able to kind of mitigate with more diversification as such. I would say. Yeah.
Wonderful. That was a wonderful final roundup from you, Nitesh. How should I say? It is not so negative as it sounds, but it is difficult. Let's put it that way. We need to hang in there. Also, our friends in the Middle East, our colleagues are really suffering. We know that a lot of hotels are struggling a lot. They have to take serious decisions how to cope with the situation. But let's hope it gets over soon. I would like to say a big, huge thank you to the four of you for your sharing your wisdom and your input. This was really fun, and this hour just flew by. Thank you so much for being here with us, and have a lovely rest of the day and night, a lovely evening in Singapore, and let's hope and it will get better and to a good future for all of us. And greetings from Singapore.
For sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Astrid.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye. It was
Bye-bye.
good. Thank you. Bye bye.